Welcome to your NFL Week 9 review. I'm Eli, and I have Jimmy missing today, so filling in for Jimmy is...
I'm Zach.
And we're going to get straight into these games from Week 9. First off, we got the Colts getting beat by the Steelers, 24-6. Wasn't good. Brissett goes down.
Vinatieri misses the game winner.
T.Y. Hilton injured. Expected to play next week, though, hopefully.
Vinatieri's the GOAT. He's not doing it right now.
Next game, we got the 49ers and the Cardinals. 49ers stay undefeated, barely, 28-25. Garoppolo had 317 yards for 4 touchdowns, and Emmanuel Sanders with 112 yards and a touchdown. Emmanuel Sanders is already helping out that offense a bunch. And then on the Cardinals side, Kenyon Drake, he had 110 yards and a touchdown, and Kyler Murray had 241 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. He was 17 for 24.
Some good stats for Cardinals. Woo, we kind of suck, but it's okay. So the next game was the Texans beating the Jags, moving up to 6-3. They won 26-3. I mean, with the Jaguars, Jalen Ramsey. That's what you'd expect. Notably, the Texans, Carlos Hyde ran for 160 yards. That's really great yardage. That's what you really want in a game. And then Gardner Minshew threw for 309 yards and 2 TDs, but just wasn't enough.
That's not right.
That's not right.
How did you do that? Okay.
I said 2 TDs and I looked up the score. I was like, huh.
Let's check.
Did you get the wrong stat line for Gardner Minshew?
Deshaun Watson got traded going out. So what was the last thing that you said that was right?
Carlos Hyde ran for
so
160 yards.
Okay, so let's restart this. So Deshaun Watson then had 201 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then Minshew had 309 yards and 2 interceptions.
Could be worse. 2 is not the worst to throw in a game.
Looking like somebody else we know, Baker Mayfield throwing interceptions.
Yes, sir. Got commercials, then he has touchdowns.
All right, so then the next game, we got the Bears 14, Eagles 22. I just think, the Eagles win that game. They should have. Wentz had 239 yards and a touchdown. Hurts had 130 yards and a touchdown.
That was a much-needed win for the Eagles because they've been not doing so hot lately. They kicked a player off the team for bad-mouthing the other players, and the Eagles are they're not looking too hot. So that was a good win for them.
It happened. It finally happened. The Dolphins got a win.
Oh, man.
26-18 versus the Jets. Fitzmagic, 280 yards and 3 touchdowns. But it was against the Jets, so nobody really cares.
That's his former team. It's probably the best game he's played in years. So.
And hey, now the Bengals are the worst team in the league.
Woo! Go Bengals! And later you'll find out they got a pretty hard game next week.
And then next game, what we got?
We had Chiefs take the win over the Vikings. Kind of makes me sad because I'm kind of rooting for the Vikings this season. They're a great team. 26-23, really close game. Cousins had a pretty good game, throwing for 220 yards, 3 touchdowns. And then on the
Chiefs side.
Chiefs side.
Moore, their backup QB, had 275 yards and a touchdown. Their running back ran for 125 yards and a touchdown, and Tyreek Hill had 140 yards and a touchdown. Boys fast. Next game, we got the Panthers 30, Titans 20. Sounds about right. Tannehill for the Titans had 331 yards, a touchdown, but 2 interceptions, so it didn't really matter. And then Allen for the Panthers had 232 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. For a backup QB, he's not playing bad this season. I mean, he's not doing a whole bunch, but he's doing enough. And then McCaffrey, 146 yards, 2 touchdowns. Still don't understand how he's not in the MVP race, but whatever.
Yeah, still just carrying the team on his back. McCaffrey's nuts this season. Then moving on to the next game, we had the Bills taking the win over the Redskins. Who would have thunk it? Moving up to 6-2 for the Bills. 24-9 is the score for the Redskins side of it. Peterson had 108 yards, no touchdowns. Just Redskins weren't looking too great. And then on the Bears side, Allen had 160 yards, 1 touchdown. So that's a really good running game. Going over 120 yards is pretty difficult for a running back.
He threw for 160 yards and had a touchdown. Moving on. Next we have the Seahawks 40, Buccaneers 34. This is a really good game. James Winston had 335 yards, 2 touchdowns. Evans had 108 yards and a touchdown, but the Seahawks just absolutely dominated. Wilson throwing 378 yards, had 5 touchdowns. The running back Carson had 16 carries for 105 yards. Lockett had 152 yards receiving with 2 touchdowns. Gosh. And Metcalf had 125 yards and a touchdown.
All right, so moving on to the next game. Maybe I'll be able to read the stats right. Had Raiders picking up the win over the Lions. Both of these teams aren't really that great, so it's a good game for the Raiders though, because I think it was last season they were looking like they were going to be a really good team, but this year they're kind of just playing for one of those bottom spots. On the Lions side of things, Stafford threw for 406 yards, 3 touchdowns and an interception. I mean, with a game like that, can't really do much more than that as a QB. Galloway had 132 yards and a touchdown, and then James had 126 yards and a touchdown. An all-around really good passing and receiving game for the Lions. But the Raiders just dominated. Carr throwing 289 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then Jacobs had 120 yards and 2 touchdowns on the running side.
And next we had the Packers and the Chargers. The Chargers would get this win over the Packers. Very surprising. Just wasn't a good game for Green Bay at all. They held Aaron Rodgers to 161 yards and only 1 touchdown. Whereas the Chargers, Phillip Rivers had 294 yards, and receiver Mike Williams had 111 yards. So, not a bad game for the Chargers, but very bad game for Green Bay. So yeah,
not a team I would expect Green Bay of all teams to lose to.
The next
game we had was Cleveland versus Denver. Denver took the win over Cleveland. I don't know. I still can't believe that Cleveland is just as bad as they are. Baker Mayfield threw for 273 yards and a touchdown, no interceptions. And then on the Denver side of things, we had Brandon Allen throwing for 193 yards, 2 touchdowns. Pretty solid game out of a backup. Then running wise for them, Lindsey had 92 yards and a touchdown, getting the points. That's what matters. So just a good game overall for Denver.
Yeah, and Tad Noah Fant, their receiver, had 3 catches for 115 yards and a touchdown. That's some big yards after that catch.
Yeah,
Then next we have what was most definitely the game of the week.
Yes, sir.
New England goes down.
Woo! They are mortal.
The world rejoices. Baltimore will win 37-20. Just amazing games. It was a great game to watch. Tom Brady throws for 285 yards, only 1 touchdown and 1 interception to add to that. Nobody really went off for the Patriots. It was kind of just an game for them. The Ravens, yeah, it was a good game. Lamar Jackson, 160 yards and 1 touchdown. Passing, rushing, he would have 61 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Dude, it's just ridiculous.
And then to help with that, their running back had 115 yards. Mark Ingram did very well.
Yeah, their rushing game is so good. If you're on Mark Ingram, Lamar Jackson's just going to run instead. The quarterback. It's one of the fastest people in the league. It's ridiculous. So moving on, we had Dallas taking the win over the Giants. Not unexpected. Dallas Dallas was struggling for a little bit, but they're picking up a couple wins in a row here, finally getting back on track. Dak Prescott threw for 257 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. He's actually been known to throw a lot of interceptions, so that was not too bad. Zeke having a pretty good game, 139 yards, no touchdowns, but he was not running for much earlier in the season, so it's nice to see him get some more yards going. And on the Giants side of things, we had Daniel Jones passing for 210 yards, a touchdown, 1 interception. 1 touchdown, 1 reception. It's not really the stat line you want to see as a quarterback.
Yeah,
but
37-18, just not the score you want to see at the end of the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is your NFL Week 9 review. Look for a Week 10 preview coming soon.